What is up the world? It is your friendly neighborhood turtle man here, and we are back on the Hermitcraft server, hanging out in our temporary ocean monument base. And yes, you are right, there is something different about this area. You are very observant. You have noticed that there is no dripping particle effects coming from underneath these blocks. And no, it is not the settings of my game. It is, in fact, that all of the water from up above has been removed. Check this out. It is wonderful. All of the water is gone. Usually that would take up a bunch of episodes doing time-lapse and stuff, and I thought let's jump straight to the point. Now if you've been watching the live streams, you know all about this. If you're subscribed to the second channel, you may have caught some of the thumbnails, because I think for the last couple of weeks all of the thumbnails from our live streams have just been prismarine blocks and sand, so you've probably got a good idea of what I've been up to. And over here is an area where we usually see guardians on fire. We actually have none at the moment because I have built a guardian farm to rival Iscals and Cub fans. This tiny thing right here is pumping out the guardians and pumping out the drops. And I could open up a shop of my own, you know. There is a lot of chests here filled up with... look at this. Look at all these prismarine drops. It is absolutely wonderful. However, I am going to need a redonkulous amount of prismarine for a crazy project that I have planned for the shopping area that is going to introduce a new feature to the Hermitcraft season. So I need to get my hands on lots and lots of prismarine blocks before I can do that. And the next logical step here is to actually remove the monument, as I don't want to be keeping it for the base that I'm going to build here. Now, one thing I do want to point out about this base that I'm going to build eventually is that it's not going to be like a massive base, something that takes up most of my attention. It's going to be a place for me to put my storage systems and a couple of farms. I really do want to focus on the main island and contribute to all of the different areas over there. Now, as you might be able to tell, I've got a little bit of XP. I've been doing some AFK fishing, and now I'm ready to pop on here and play. And the first thing that we're going to do is a little bit of an experiment, because I can't quite remember something. So Mr. Tango Tech was kind enough to give me an advance of a stack of iron blocks from his ethical poppy farm. You know, it just happens to produce some iron blocks on the side. And I was wondering to myself, do I need to go and move my entire beacon setup over to this location? Or does this work with haste 1? You see, you need haste 2 for stone. And me and my poor old memory, I've learnt these things in Minecraft time and time again, but I always need to test them and remind myself. So, the question is, will we get instant mine? The answer is no. We need a haste 2 beacon. Well, that's fair enough. Okay, so let's go and grab all of our iron and gold blocks and set one up. Let's crank up these sounds. The beacon makes an amazing noise when it's deactivated. That is cool. Right, beacon base down. Now I want to hear the power up sound. Yay! We have instant mine, and that means that we can do a time lapse of me destroying all of the blocks in this area. That's what I want to do. But first of all, I feel like I owe you an explanation for this guardian farm. When I went over there, I got distracted looking in the chests. I should explain the concept. It's really simple. We have downwards flowing water, so the only water source blocks are at the very top. And because the water flows downwards and the guardians are next to solid blocks, which is the sand on either side, it means they move down very swiftly, and then they fall through the lava. Now the lava here is 2 blocks tall, which means the guardians are going to jump up and down and actually go back into the lava a little bit, and that does mean on occasions, very rarely, their items will get burnt in the lava, but that's obviously not a problem. And that is a really simple design. What I think I'm going to do when we turn this place into more of a permanent base and the sand walls come down is actually have the guardian farm sort of going all the way around the outside. So whenever or wherever I'm standing in the base, there's always going to be a part of the farm that mobs can spawn in. I think that's a pretty good idea. But anyway, let's get some music going. Let's get into a time lapse here. Well, that went by really quickly, and over there in the background are some dancing on fire guardians. That is the guardian farm in action right there. I'm the only person online at the moment, so we should see some more action from that thing. But that took 35 minutes to do the whole thing, much quicker than I expected. I thought it would take about an hour, so I'm happy with that. And now we're left with a little bit of tidying up to do. I want to grab these prismarine blocks, put them all the way across the floor so it's nice and tidy, and sort out some of our shulker boxes and other things here as well. So it's looking somewhat tidy in here. I've just noticed that the portal block is off by 1, how typical. And over there, a mysterious cocoa bean has vanished from the wall. But otherwise, the area is relatively tidy. Still got a few floating chests. We got our dancing on fire guardians in the background. And I've spent the majority of my time here sorting through all of the items, condensing them into these shulker boxes and color coding them for my convenience. So now we've got a few of these left over and lots of sand in here as well. And it's all temporary because, of course, in the future, we're going to be redecorating this place. So I've just swung by the skeleton farm to repair my tools, as we're going to need to do some more digging and building, and you know how it is. I watched a video recently and someone was showing how to craft dispensers. I can't remember who it is, I've been rattling my brain, but I wanted to remind all of you, I think I did actually mention this before, this is a really good way of getting dispensers because you don't have to craft anything. So if you've got a skeleton farm, hold on to those bows because you can actually use them in here. Although it doesn't put a recipe on the side, you can now use the broken bows to craft dispensers. I am a man of mischief today. This said convex rock. Well, I added a couple of extra blocks there, and now it says hashtag convex rookies. Brilliant. So we're going to do a bit of work on the tag area and the tag building itself. And I've actually got some stuff to show you as well. You see, I wanted to have a pathway leading up to the tag building, and I may have another structure over here that we signify the players that this is the area to land when they're tagged and they need to visit the building. So we've got this nice little pathway over here, nothing too fancy, but I put in some cobblestone walls. There's lighting over here. You can see leaves are draping on this overhang. It looks really cool and lush. I think it might be missing like 1 or 2 more colours in here, like from some flowers, but it leads around the corner and it doesn't really connect with this path too well. But that's something that we can sort out later on. And I'm also working on a lawn on the outside of this, and that actually looks quite nice as you approach it from a distance. During a live stream we did this, and I started working around with some different ideas for, I guess you could call it a fence that's going to separate this from the surrounding area. But right now what we're going to focus on is what's going on underground. So I've added in this little button which is for players who have actually been tagged before. So if you've been tagged and then you get tagged again, you don't want to go through all of this rigmarole of the walk of shame again. So there'll be a shortcut, and I think I might try and squeeze that shortcut over on this side. But as of right now, there's a button over here that you can press, and then you can go through here, and then you can go through there, and we need to make that a little bit easier for the hermits. So there'll probably be some sort of short connection over on this side, and that allows you to go straight back into this room here where I've made a change. Now remember how we were going to have 2 types of twists for each round, and then we realised that's a little bit silly. Let's just have 1 twist selection and let the hermits add their own twists for future participants of the game. Well, the following room is where we can sort of specify the rules of the current twists which are in order. Now when I had the tag trousers on me, I realised at some point they are going to break. So now there is a rule for this twist, which is the tag trousers. If the tag trousers break, you must sell 7 IOU notes for 7 diamonds each in the shopping area. Rule: wear the tag trousers at all times when tagged. So if it breaks on you, you got to go and sell some IOU notes to other hermits, and who knows what they're going to ask for. The other thing that we have in the game at the moment is the dunce head, and then it hit me that a really good way to get rid of this punishment, let's call it, would be to put it on another player and antagonize them a little bit. So now over here it says the dunce head. You can remove the dunce head from the game by adding Curse of Binding and equipping it on another hermit. So that is going to cause some mischief on the server. There is going to be so much fun and games coming from the tag game itself. So anyway, let's check out this redstone and see if I can make something a little bit more convenient over on this side. Sometimes squeezing redstone into a small space can be really problematic, but this is actually going to work out for us pretty well. We're going to have a button on the front. Let's actually go for a discrete one, because the way I'm going to set this up means that when the player walks through, they sort of extend the signal at the same time. So if I press that button, yeah, nothing happens just yet. So it powers that redstone line, which goes alongside these blocks, and we'll come back to that in a second. It points into this one, and this needs to send the signal up to that block there. So that all required some readjusting. Now the torch just powers this line right here, which goes into both set of pistons. So we press this button, we can walk into here, and then when we're standing on these pressure plates, it keeps the door open. So if I stand on this one here, both sets of doors are open until we go all the way through, and then it closes rather rapidly. So I think the other thing it needs is maybe a pulse lengthener. So with this, we will get an extra 8 ticks added to the length. That makes it much smoother to walk into here, and then when you're standing in here, these things stay open. However, if you stand in the corner, you're not actually touching any of the redstone, so it closes, which isn't so glamorous. So I think what we'll do is actually run this one down by one, and then have more redstone underneath these blocks. And there we go, a niche bit of redstoning that seems to work really well. I've put sea lanterns in here so it's nicely illuminated. When you stand on this one, that opens, and then you're able to go into this room. So when exiting that area, the player comes out of this door and rejoins the staircase, and around the corner from here is where we have our hallway of the tagged hermits. This is like a monument to the history of the game to see all the hermits that have been tagged and in what order. Now for the design here, I've taken this slice of arc, which I've used several times in this area here, where we have the end rods and the cobblestone walls, and then I've used that to kind of make the hallway feel a little bit bigger. So these have been pushed back. Now the one thing I can't decide on is the ceiling. Do I want to go with rough blocks like this, something smooth, maybe a different colour? I think I'm going to end up with stone bricks and maybe a few andesite bricks in there as well, because these three, I don't know. But anyway, this is perfect for what we need. We want to have a space to highlight the hermit that was tagged, and then like a little monument to them and some information as well. So what we're going to do is have armor stands in these positions. We can use the book to attach a pose, of course. I love this thing. It is really, really fun. Let's start off with pointing. Let's make it so the base plate doesn't show, and so that the arms are extended as well. And in my inventory, I have the heads of the very first 3 hermits to be tagged. So Grian started the game. That means that he was the first tagged hermit. And what we'll do is we'll go from left to right. So over on this side of the room, and I've already placed down the armor stands. Let's go back and grab this one. We're going to have the second person to be tagged, which was DocM77. And the third person was, of course, Mumbo Jumbo. And DocM's pose over here, the facepalm, cracks me up every time I see it. Now, what we need to do next is throw down some signs to kind of showcase the chronological order. We're going to work from left to right. So the first sign is going to have a 1 on it. And that's for Grian, who was the first person, I guess, to be tagged, or was it to begin with, since he made the game. So below that, we're then going to have a URL. And I don't really need to write this on every single sign, because the system is sort of self-explanatory. But the URL is tag.hermitcraft.com/1a. Now, the reason it's /1a is because more often than not, you're going to have 2 perspectives of this happening. So /1b would be the second URL for the first instance of tagging. Now these URLs are simply redirect to the Twitch streams and the YouTube videos where all of this tagging has happened. So the reason that I don't need to write that on each sign is because it follows a pretty straightforward formula. So on Doc's sign, since he was the second person to be tagged, it's 2a and 2b. And then you don't even need a hermit to come down here and, you know, show you each of the signs, because it follows that simple formula. So if you want to see the 9th person that was tagged, you can go to .com/9a, and if there is a second perspective available, you can type /9b. Now, at the time of watching this video, that system might not be in place as of when it's released, but we're working on it, and hopefully those URLs will be there for you to go back and look through the history of the tag game. And so you can watch all of the videos and be, you know, in the know on the history of the game. And right now we're flying back over to the shopping district, which is just absolutely overflowing with cool stuff at the moment. And I want to check and see if we've made any sales over here, because we did a 24-hour sale and then I just decided to leave the price until I could next come over here. So it's now been 1 diamond for 3 stacks for quite some time. And hey, we got 1 sale right there. I was about to say it didn't look too good, but we have been moving some of these kelp blocks. That's good. Hey, we got 4 over here. That's wonderful. Hey, another 3 in this one. 1 over here. Another 3. Another 2. Another 1. Another 3. Another 3. Another 3. 3 again. 3 again. 3 again. Wow, 3 again. Someone has basically brought us out on this side over here. 36 diamonds in total. That's alright for the amount of stock that we've got here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the price to 2 stacks for 1 diamond permanently and see how we do from that point onwards. Okay, I've updated the signs, I've updated our emeralds up the top, which I don't think like a single person has probably thought to go all the way to this thing right here. But anyway, we do have more shops, so let's go and check and see how they're doing. Now I know we've had some sales over here because I had to come in and stock this chest all up again. It had been emptied out, and wow, that is how many diamonds? 9 across plus 8, that's 17. Yes, there it is. Very popular shop. I'm going to have to stock that one up again because I filled it all the way down to here just the other day. And the only other sale that we've made is 1 diamond from over here. So that's 18 from this shop and a total of 54. And that brings our season total up to 370 diamonds. I'm sure that we're doing nowhere near as good as iTrade, but geez, I just like that we're keeping track of it, you know. And speaking of iTrade, don't I have to give 32 diamonds to Impulse because of that sneaky devil, Evil X? But I tell you, when he was logging off the server, I robbed him. I robbed him of his iTrade pass, so now we can get in here and boop-de-doop. We can buy mending books and all sorts of other books as well. And I'll just leave these diamonds in this chest for Impulse and let him know. So I've got a couple more things to show you over at Tag HQ. And I want to first check this from the outside here. That's looking really nice actually. I've spent a lot of time just hanging out on the ground down here working on a garden design. I've got to say though, it leaves like a bit of a harsh border with those jungle slabs at the top. Maybe I need to look at having some overgrown shrubberies around the outside here to help it kind of blend into the environment. But this is our garden. As you can see, it's got a couple of layers in some places, and there's bits where it steps up and steps down, and it's all really, really nice. And do you know what would have helped with showing you this? A potion of slow falling. That is really great for getting a good shot at something from the sky, because you kind of just end up floating in the same spot. But there we go, our lush and well looked after lawn for the outside of the tag building, and it's a really nice garden to put out there. But on the inside, Zombie Cleo has come through and built the murals for us, and apparently the elytras don't play nicely with armor stands. That is unfortunate. So if you put an elytra on an armor stand and you start to rotate it, the elytra doesn't rotate with it, which could probably be considered a bug. So over on this side we now have the Grian and Mumbo mural. Jeez, I can't even say the word properly. For when Grian got tagged by some redstone. On the opposite side we have Tango's classic stalking of the convex cub and Scar and tagging them, and there's some redstone down here. Man, I love the details. This is fantastic. But at the back here we have this one right here of Cub swooping down on me and throwing a splash potion, and it just looks fantastic. But notice how Cubfan actually has an elytra. Those are made out of stone pressure plates, and that must have taken a crazy amount of time to put together. So Cleo has done an absolutely fantastic job right here on all of this, which is great. So I need to head back over to the shopping area, I guess, and drop her off a payment. Oh, I wonder if we've had any donations. Let's have a little check. Nope. 0 donations, peeps. 0. So I'm staring at the roof of Jevin's shop, and all I can think about is ice cream now. Oh, anyway, we are here to drop off the payment for Cleo's wonderful job with the murals And I don't know what the pricing for this thing is, so I'm just going to drop off a stack of diamonds because she did a fantastic job, and that should cover the expenses. I don't know how much she's charging for these things, but anyway, I want to grab some rockets and fly into the sky and say if you've enjoyed this episode, then leave a like on the video. As always, thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll be seeing you soon with another episode of Hermitcraft. Ciao for now. Bye bye.